When you come to Ben and Kelly, it's group therapy on 99.7 DJX.
So yeah, if you just want the opinion of people who aren't emotionally invested in your situation, just to shoot you straight, you got to come to Ben and Kelly because our listeners hold nothing back.
Exactly. And this is maybe a stark example of how parents should maybe communicate with other parents on expectations.
Yeah, so we got this message.
It says, my son was at a sleepover a month ago with extremely poor adult supervision and wound up watching The Exorcist.
Okay.
As you can imagine, this was an absolute disaster, and we've been cleaning up the mess ever since. Now, you're going to think we're ridiculous, but we actually wound up taking him to a therapist after the first 2 weeks of not sleeping.
Oh.
And needing to spend the night in our bed and dozens of questions about death and demons and ghosts.
Uh-huh.
A few sessions actually really seems to have done the trick, and he's back in his own bed, looking less like death warmed over.
Aw.
My question is, can we ask the parents who hosted the sleepover to pay for or at least chip in for the costs? I'm fully prepared to hear no, that's not okay. But I just have so much free-floating anger at the entire situation. The kids were all 9 years old.
Okay.
Which I think, way too young for that kind of horrifying movie.
So I don't know if this is the same, but it kind of is, because when my daughters were young, maybe around 9 years old, maybe about that same age, they went to a sleepover, and my daughter Sophia, at the sleepover, got kicked in the face through a tent on accident, of course.
Yeah.
But ended up breaking her nose. And so, we had to take her to the hospital, and all those hospital bills of getting her nose fixed, after the broken nose, after the sleepover.
Oh, no.
And so we were...
Did the parents know that you...
Oh, yeah.
Had to go through all of that? Okay,
no, absolutely they knew. They knew that her nose was broken and all of that. And, it was one of those things where they were like, okay, hey, sorry that happened. And we were kind of like, man, that's it. And no offer of anything, really. And so I'd be curious to know what everybody says here, because, and now this was several years ago, and we've long since gotten past all that, but nothing happened in my situation. No offer of, hey, can we help, throw you a couple bucks for the medical bills or anything like that. Nothing. So I'd be interested to hear from my own personal sake, could we have even gone and said, hey, can you help pay for this? But I don't want to make this about me. I want to make this about her.
Yeah, I don't know if I would ever feel comfortable reaching out and saying, hey, will you help pay for this kind of a thing, and especially in this situation. But I think a lot of people that are chiming in on Facebook already, Jessica was saying, not sure if it's their responsibility to help pay for the therapy, but it was their responsibility to reach out to parents before asking their permission if they were okay for watching this movie.
Yeah.
And I think that's absolutely, I think, a valid thing. Is we always make sure that we check with the parents, are you cool with this? And, that kind of thing. Well,
she even said they had extremely poor adult supervision. So who's to even say they knew? They
were even there?
Or knew that the movie was even going to be played. So anyways, we'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this. So this is what group therapy is all about. 502-571-9970. That's our phone number that you can call, or you can even text that to us on 99.7 DJX. When your 9-year-old goes over to a friend's house for a sleepover, and then you find out they watched The Exorcist, and now your kid is having night terrors, and you're taking him to therapy because of it.
Yeah, so now you're thinking, okay, should the parent, pay for the therapy? Completely wrecked my kid? And we're not even clear on whether the the parents that hosted the sleepover even knew, because apparently there was poor supervision.
Yeah. Nicole.
The answer is no. You cannot ask the parents for anything. I mean, it's your child. You should know the parents of, where your child's going. Your child's 9. I mean, they should stick up for themselves and say, hey, I don't want to watch that.
Yeah, that's easy for us to say, but peer pressure and all that, and you're already over at a sleepover. Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to just go into the other room and sit for 2 hours?
You're going to say, hey, this is a good learning experience for your 9-year-old to stand up to peer pressure. They're 9. I mean, I know that's a young age, but at the same time, in the world we're living in, at 9 years old, they're exposed to so much. It's sad, yes, but at the same time, it's your job as a parent to teach your child.
Nicole, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Now, see, what if the kids didn't, know what the movie's about?
Yeah,
had no idea until it's, too late and you're seeing some stuff like, what?
I mean, they're 9.
It's like spinning around.
They probably have no idea even what Exorcist means.
Exactly.
All right.
I think that's the problem right there. But hey, we've got a lot of good text messages. Amy says, I feel like it's on you. When you allow your kid to stay at someone else's house, I would think it would be someone you trust to make good decisions for your child while in their care. Was it right that they allowed them to watch that type of movie at such a young age? No. Don't let your child stay with them again. And do your research next time. Talk to the parents. Make sure they know what your expectations are.
Yeah, and I think a majority of us are saying, look, you're not going to be able to get money out of them.
Yeah, no, I think that's going to be completely on you. Stephanie said, have these parents talk to other parents of kids at the sleepover? Have they talked to the parents that hosted the sleepover about what happened? She's like, I feel like if they reach out to the other parents and see how they're feeling, maybe do a group approach about how it affected all the kids. That's the biggest thing is, do the parents even know, what went on at their house? Also, maybe a big reminder that you should be more aware of what the kids are doing at your house when you're hosting a sleepover for 9-year-olds.
Or, and use this as a learning experience for the future where the next time there is a sleepover, regardless of whether or not it's at that kid's house, ask questions, make sure that, the parents are going to be there. Make sure that, the activities and things like that. So you don't find yourself in that same situation. So,
yeah, I think that unfortunately this is going to be probably a pricey lesson for them to learn. And it sounds as though their kid is getting past it. The therapy's working. But as far as the bill goes, I think they're probably going to have to eat it and just, know to ask more questions and lay out expectations a little bit more clearly next time.
I'm trying to think if my daughters have watched The Exorcist yet.
Oh.
I don't think they have, but I don't think it's because we've kept it away from them. I think it's just one of those where they're like, no, when we look at scary movies, they're like, okay, Nightmare Before Christmas. All right.
Right.
Not Madeline. What's the other one? But anyways, yeah. So they haven't gotten to those sorts of movies like The Exorcist. But yeah.
By the way, a lot of people were chiming in on the text line too, offering advice for you, Ben.
Oh yeah. Listen, I had said that, when my daughters Isabel and Sophia were probably right around that age, around 9, they had gone over to a sleepover and Sophia got accidentally kicked in the face through a tent while there, broke her nose. And, my wife and I obviously got her nose fixed and all that stuff, medical bills and things like that.
Yes, all that stuff.
Yeah. And there was never any sort of attempt to help pay. And not that we were wanting to approach the family who did it, but it was just kind of I think we kind of had the same question back then of what's the,
is there any sort of proper protocol?
Right,
kind of thing. A lot of people said they could have filed a claim on their homeowner's insurance because it happened on their property. Yeah. Which, good note, I was thinking back when I was a kid, my friend was at my house and slipped on, she riding her bike, slipped on gravel, ended up breaking her face a little bit, and we had to take her to the hospital. It's her parents probably could have gotten us a little bit.
But
stuff like that happens. Accidents happen.
We just told Sophia to rub some dirt on it, and she's
you'll
fine.
Be fine.
Now. Yeah, she's fine. So, all right. Hey, by the way, if you want to chime in, you always can. Facebook, we post all of these scenarios up on Facebook, so you can, go and you can look back at what some of the other people have commented. Maybe you're going through the same situation now, and this is a great, litmus test for you too. At Ben
Oh
and
yeah,
Kelly
absolutely.
Show.
But bottom line is, with parents need to communicate big time.
All right, there you go. That's group therapy.